Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about the tendency to blame ourselves and to change ourselves in order to please others. So, what prompted this video was so basically to simplify things. Yesterday, me and my friend had a fight, and today I said hi to him because, well, I don't want to hold a grudge against anybody, and I don't want to, let those bad happenings in the past continue to affect me today or in the future. So, I said hi to him. We can still be friends after a fight, no big deal. But then he did not say hi back to me. And then after that, I was just kind of a little bit low. Was not too happy because I know that I am someone who's easily upset by inharmonious relationships or bad happenings with people. So, I was just kind of unhappy with that. And then I dug a little bit deeper. I sensed that there was this, among my feelings, there was this undercurrent of energy that was basically saying to me, oh, it's all my fault. You know, I said something to make him unhappy with me. That's why he did not say hi back to me. It's all my fault. I gotta blame myself. And then after that, I realized that, I didn't really have to blame myself for that. Okay, so if we try to debate it with logic, logic would say, okay, so, because you did A, therefore he is unhappy, so it is your fault. Okay, it sounds like it's your fault. Okay. And then if we look at the other side of the coin, because it takes two to tango, so the other side of the coin is, if I did not react this way, I wouldn't have been unhappy. If I reacted better, or, if I could, for example, try to be more understanding, try to think in other people's shoes, blah, blah, whatever, I could have reacted differently and I could have been happy, So it's just logically speaking, it's not your fault. I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, that's what I do. It's like first I would logically debate with something, and then I would try to get in some spiritual guidance. So, I realized that it's not necessarily my fault, because there's both sides of the coin. It can't just be me. And then after I had this realization that it didn't have to be my fault, because I really thought it was my fault, and I was trying to change myself, like, oh, what should I, how should I act next time, should the same thing happen, what should I say, all that, I was trying to change myself, to make others happy and therefore be happy with me. But then after that, I kind of reflected on my past. I dug a little bit into my past memories. I tried to know exactly what kind of caused this thought pattern or belief pattern, that I have to be the one who's at fault here. So I remembered that, when I was growing up, my dad would always be like, oh, look, like, because you did this thing wrong, now your mom's upset with you, blah, blah, and all that. So he was really blaming that onto me. And I remember there was one instance where it was like, I think I was in junior high school, and I think I was a teenager, right? But whatever. I was a teenager doing my teenage stuff, and my mom was just super pissed. And I guess she didn't know what to do with me, and she was, lecturing me, and then in the middle of lecture, because she got so mad, like all her blood went into her head, because she's that kind of person. Like, she gets very angry and very emotional. And she she got, well, because all the blood was in her head and all that. Well, I'm not a medical doctor, nor am I a medical student, but I think basically that was the reason why she got very weak. So then she kind of, I don't want to say collapse. She didn't really collapse, but she was so weak that she had to like sit on the floor or something because she got so mad. And then my dad was like, "Oh, look how much you've upset your mom. Like, your mom's like this because of you. Get your mom some water and all that." But similar things would happen. I mean, not necessarily to this extent, but my dad would be like, "Oh, now you have displeased your mother. It's all your fault." I mean, he, like, not all the time he would say that directly, that that it was my fault, but there was the implicit understanding that, hey, because you acted that way, your mom's pissed at you, therefore, it's all you're doing, it's all on you. And then also remember this instance where I don't remember the exact thing that happened, but it was kind of like my first job in high school, and I was a sales associate. And then there was so basically I was working for this lady as a sales associate. So she's my boss, right? And then she had this sort of like feud with the department store. So she had her own storefront, so to speak, and then so she had to work with or under the department store, so to speak. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but the point is they had to like work together, and they had a contract. But then even before I joined the company, they had a feud, so they weren't like all happy with each other. And then after I joined, I don't remember what happened, but basically, because of, well, not because of, but for easier understanding from a human's perspective, let's just call it, because of something I did, there was the possibility that they might break the contract. The contract might end because of this. And then my dad was blaming me, and he was all like, "Oh, you know what, like, you did this thing, and now there's a possibility that they're gonna end the contract, and if that really happened, it would all be on you." Like, I didn't really agree with that sentiment. I mean, they already had a feud before. I would only be the catalyst. I would only be the catalyst of change. So whatever happened, I mean, it's like, you have a bomb. Okay, for example, there's a bomb, and that was their feud. And then you have the little, I don't know, what is it called? Wick? Yeah, the wick. Let's just call it wick. Yeah, you have the wick, and then you have the fire. So I'd be the fire who lights up the wick, and then boom, the bomb goes off, right? But then I'm just the fire. I'm not the bomb. The bomb itself is not me. It's not about me. It's not on me. But, because I had this conditioning from my parents that, like, oh, if your mom's not happy, then it's because of you, and therefore you need to do something to go please her, whatever. And if something bad happens, like, oh, it must be your fault. And I'll give you another example. So when I was learning how to drive, my mom taught me how to drive. So I was driving, and she was in the passenger seat, and it was a one lane. It was a single lane street. I mean, yeah, double direction, but single lane for each direction. And then because it was single lane, so, you know, and at the red light, I just stopped there, you know, like in the middle of a lane. And then somebody was honking at me. And then I didn't understand what happened. I mean, I was like, what the heck do you want? You know, this is a single lane. What do you want? And then, I mean, now after some driving experience, I kind of know that the person wants me to shift to the left a little bit. You know, when it's a single lane, like he wanted me to kind of stop more to the left of the lane, so then he could go, like he could turn right at the light. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but I guess I am, but whatever. But the thing is, well, I mean, the traffic rule per se does not matter. The point here is, my mom said, you know, I said, you know, what the heck do you want, you know, I was just kind of mumbling that. And then my mom said, oh, you know, if other people are honking at you, then it must be something that you did wrong. Like, you must have done something wrong for them to honk at you. I mean, not necessarily, right? Because sometimes people are just impatient, you know, just on the road, and they be honking at you for nothing. And I mean, you can't take everything personally. Please don't, you know. There's like, I mean, people can be mad for no good reason, you know. They might just want to take it out on you. They might be just having a bad day, you know. And, you know, like, just legally speaking, it is a single lane, so there should not be two cars at the same level, you know. But whatever it is, like, going back to my point, you know, you should not be blamed for every single thing that happened. And when we're talking about dealing with people, you know, dealing with, you know, your friends or whatever, if they are not happy with you, it doesn't have to be your friend, it could be a total stranger. If they are not happy at you, you know, that's their own problem. They didn't have to react that way. They didn't have to respond that way. You know, it's, for example, you know, just with one stimulus, for example, like, if I hit you or someone with this pen, you know, I like hit your arm or something, a million people would have a million responses. You know, some people will get really mad, some people will hit you back, some people will just simply, you know, kind of ignore you, some people will just laugh it off, you know. A million people are going to have a million responses. So, you know, it's, and, you know, like, if someone would become upset with you for something that you have done, know that it is not your responsibility to make them happy. Okay, so let's elaborate on this a little bit. So, first of all, you cannot control how other people would respond, because others are their own individuals, and they are not puppets with strings that you can, you know, manipulate. So for that reason, you know, if you can't control how they're gonna act, so, you know, stop trying to do something to make them happy, because, you know, even if you try, there's no guarantee that you'll make them happy. And so you shouldn't really care too much about how other people are gonna respond to what you say or what you do, you know. So be you, and don't change your words or your actions because you think that, oh, if I say this, then they're not gonna be happy, and, you know, they're gonna be upset with me all that, and I don't want that. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so little that you can control. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what you can control in this world, because I don't think anything is within your control 100%, but that's not the topic of this video. Also, I'm just reading, looking at my notes here. You know, just with friends and family and people that you know well, you know, especially when it comes to parent pleasing, because I guess everyone has that to a certain degree. You know, it's impossible to really predict how your parents or your friends are going to react, even if, you know, you've thought about it for a million times and you think this is the best strategy to tell them something, to do something, but there's, just with the extensive knowledge that you have with them, there's no guarantee that they're gonna react the way that you want them to react. So I say don't try to, like change your words or change your actions to try to change their response or have a certain response from them. It's not your responsibility. And also, just to kind of expand on that, I gave the example of, when I was in junior high school, I pissed my mom off quite a bit, and then she was super weak, and she was sitting on the floor because that she got so mad. Yeah, right. So, who would have seen that happen? I didn't know that she would react that way. I mean, I didn't know that she would be that mad. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's not my responsibility to, do everything perfectly just to make her happy. How she responds is how she responds, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, so I guess just to reiterate, you should act how you alone would have acted in a certain situation. It's not your job or anybody's job to make sure that all parties are happy, and that's not possible, not in every circumstances. But going back to the example with my mom, going back to the example of me and my friend, or just just with any happenings where you have sort of like where you have a fight with another party, 1 million people would have 1 million ways to react. Sorry, did I say that right? So 1 million people would have 1 million responses to the same stimuli. So if the same thing happened to everyone in the world, everyone would have their own responses, because everyone, their personality is different, and just how they deal with things, how they manage things, how they manage their emotions, and what their thought processes are different. So I'll give you a very easy to understand example or illustration. Suppose your friend is just your regular friend, and he is pretty emotional, and he doesn't really manage his anger very well, and he has trouble dealing with people usually, and then one day you said something that upset him, and then he reacted a certain way, and on another day you did the same thing to someone who's very spiritually advanced, or a spiritual guru, or a monk. They're going to have a total different response than your friend, because they are at a different stage in their life, and they know things better, and they can react to things better, and they understand how the world works better, and they understand why you did that, and how they should have reacted, and why they should have reacted the way they should. So just there's different level of maturity and different level of managing your reactions, so okay, I guess let me just give another example to better illustrate my point. So let's talk about this. So I had a fight with my other friend, let's just call him that, and after a fight, well, it's similar things, like this friend really held a grudge against me, and he was very angry at me, and he was like attacking me over text. He was I don't want to say picking faults with me, it's just at that point he was just picking random things to throw at me, saying, oh, you know what, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and that's bad, blah blah blah. You know, it was like, that was not true. Those are just based on unfounded things. But you know, different people would have a different reaction. You know, if he knows better, he would have not held a grudge against me, because holding a grudge against anyone is not good for you. And you know, like, you should just let it go, and you know, we can still be friends, because hey, just because we had a fight doesn't mean that we're the worst enemy ever, you know, for the rest of our lives. That's not how things should work. But you know, how different people respond to different things is different. And you know, but from that, you know, from my point of view is, you know, at first I was like, oh my god, this person is really mad at me, you know, because I did this, I did that, you know, and he didn't like it, so that's why he's like throwing all those tantrums at me. But then, you know, now that I know better, you know, I know not to blame myself for what happened. You know, hey, if you were a monk, you wouldn't have had responded the way you did. You wouldn't have held a grudge against me. You would have just let it go, you know, because hey, after all, it's a fight, you know, it's just a fight, just let it go, you know, it's no big deal. But you know, I could not react, I mean, you know, it's just not my responsibility to make sure that he's happy. And to do that, I had to not say what I had said, you know, because hey, I said what I should have said, you know, I expressed myself, and he was not happy with that, you know, he was not able to handle that. So he was, you know, just really mad at me and really held a grudge against me. But still, you know, it's not my fault. I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's just different people have different ways of responding to things, and if you don't like how they react to you, it's not your fault. Nothing is your fault, you know. Just go back to the example of, you know, a regular friend versus a monk, or someone who's very spiritually advanced, or someone who knows how to handle situations well. You know, at the end of the day, you cannot control how people react to what you say. So, you know, just be you, and don't try to change yourself to please others, to please your parents, so then, you know, they don't get mad at you, and then you won't feel like, oh, it's my fault that, you know, my mom's mad at me. It's not your fault. I mean, think of a compassionate and very loving mother, and who's also very understanding. She's gonna react totally different to, you know, a mistake, you know, that you had done, you know, versus someone who doesn't really know how to manage their emotions or whatever. So at the end of the day, you know, really don't try to blame everything on you. Not everything is your fault, and you know, things just happen. So just accept that, and if someone's mad at you, it's not your fault. They could have reacted better. Okay, so I hope that really helps. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I'll be here to answer those. So see you next time.